Hey everyone, welcome back to Glass Seats. This is Viddy.
My name is Mrinal, and this week, as we are wrapping up the Stanley Cup Finals and we approach the off season, one thing becomes very important in the NHL: the salary cap. Yep. As we get to the end of the season, player things happen, such as the NHL draft, where a lot of picks and players are traded, as well as free agency opening up, where players who are out of contract are allowed to sign with their new teams.
Yeah.
And all of this has cap implications.
Yes.
So, a couple of things we got to talk about the salary cap. Number one, we got to talk about how the salary cap rises to $88 million next year, which is a big raise.
Yeah, it feels like it was long overdue, right? They were talking about this for years, it feels like.
So we got to discuss all of that. And number two, the Washington Capitals have bought the popular site Capfriendly that shared cap information with fans like us.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about both of these things here. Let's talk about the cap going up first.
Yeah, sure.
So why was the cap flat for so long? Because of COVID.
Yeah.
Why does anything suck these days?
Yeah.
Because of COVID.
Because of COVID, yeah.
But the COVID debt has been paid off by the players. Why do I say debt? So by the collective bargaining agreement, the players and the owners share 50% of all revenue made from hockey.
Yeah.
Which means the players are paid a salary and then revenue is collected. If the salaries paid to the players was more than the revenue, more than half the revenue that was collected, the players have to pay into escrow, and that money is used to balance it to 50-50 at all times, right? So even if you have a player who makes $10 million, they may have to pay like $3 million into escrow, and they might not get all of it back based on what revenue is.
Yeah.
Right? Because of COVID, revenue went way down. So there was a debt owed by the players to the owners. Therefore, they did not raise the salary cap for the past 3-4 years because they wanted to make sure that the players can pay back their debt before they allocate more money to the players, which is just going to come back to the owners anyway, right?
Yeah.
So it was kept flat. This, of course, had implications on what teams could do in terms of managing players, because a lot of teams assigned contracts and contract extensions under the assumption that the cap would continue to rise at a general rate year over year.
Eric Carlson.
Yep. And all of Toronto.
Yeah.
But now that debt has been paid off, there is a raise of rising to $88 million for next year, which is the highest raise since 2018 and 2019 season.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I mean, I'm happy that this is kind of expanded too, because I think this will also just generally help the game expand. Obviously, because we can sit here and talk about how McDavid and McKinnon and all these players are making $12 million a year when the NBA bench warmers are probably making 15, right?
Yeah.
So
isn't Matthews now making 13?
Yeah, something like that. And I think he's the highest paid player.
Yes, Matthews would be the highest. If that contract is kicked in, I think it kicks in next season.
Okay, so he's about to be the highest paid player in league history, and it's just it's not much. Like 13 million is not that much. Go look at what MLB players, and especially like on the Yankees and Dodgers and those big name teams, NFL players, NBA, like hockey players don't make much, which is astonishing.
To be fair, it's not an apples to apples comparison because those leagues don't have a hard salary cap.
Yeah.
So it's not like they can just...
Oh, wait, they have a luxury tax, the NBA.
The NBA? Yes. Yeah, which is why the Warriors, when they were winning, were able to just throw money at Steph Curry and the crew, because they could just pay the tax. Yeah. Right? And that tax, that extra money the Warriors spent over the salary cap, would go to franchises that don't have as much revenue in smaller markets and help bolster them, right? That's how the NBA works. For the NHL, it's a flat cap, which honestly, coming into the 2005-2006 season after the lockout, was probably the biggest win by the owners, that they got a flat cap.
Yeah, I agree with that, because also it makes sense to... There's so much, especially nowadays, there's so much like the NHL has rigged this, or, they threw that, or even last game, the Panthers lost 8-1 because they wanted to provide extra revenue and win at home ice, right? There's so much conspiracy nowadays.
Who said that? And somebody said that?
Yeah, that's a real theory going around right now.
That's wild.
Yeah,
I was like, final? No.
Yeah, I was like, you guys are either new to hockey or just straight up conspiracy theorists. I was like, no team is going to want that, but whatever. So there's just a lot of allegations of things being rigged in this league. So I think having everything just kind of, nice and even, that is probably like the biggest win, as you said, for the league.
And generally, because the cap is tied to hockey revenue, if the cap is going up, that means hockey's doing well.
Yeah.
Which is, or I shouldn't say hockey. The NHL is doing well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is good. But yeah, like you're saying, there's a long way to go to be on par with the other North American leagues.
Yeah. And a lot of it is, not a lot of it, most of it is honestly self-inflicted, for this not expanding. You can't reach NBA levels on BetMGM ads alone. You just can't. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, and a lot of this also has to go, we've talked about this in previous episodes about how this is, the NHL will say yes to things that immediately make them cash and not long-term, establish a sense of wealth. And I don't know how to say it, like just it makes the fans want to tune in, I guess, Yeah. It makes the fans...
They're focused on getting money now rather than,
providing a quality product.
Or being sustainable.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So it's, so there's a ways to go, but at least it seems like the NHL is here to stay, right? So,
at least that COVID hole has been filled. Which was a concern that if this is going to take too long to fill, that's really hindering the growth of your league.
Yeah,
right? Let's move on to the other topic here. Capfriendly, which was a website that was public and available to fans that showed how each team's salary cap was split. Yeah. Like you literally had players' contract details in there. And there was a big team behind them that supported it and made it public for everyone. It was a huge resource, very useful to the point that even professional NHL teams were photographed using it.
Really?
Yeah.
They were photographing? I thought it was... Okay.
Not intentionally, but there was photos of, I'm signing this player, and the GM's computer is open in the background and it has Capfriendly up.
Oh, really? No, I didn't know that. That's funny.
There's a photo of Doug Wilson signing Erik Karlsson, and he has Capfriendly open in the back.
I had no idea. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll have to look that up.
There's... even teams were using it.
Yeah.
So it's a very useful tool, and we've used it here on the show to talk about team salary caps. But the Washington Capitals have purchased it.
Yeah.
And will be taking it offline after July 5th this year, after free agency. And a few NHL teams were actually using Capfriendly's programming interfaces, their APIs, in order to manage their own internal operations. And those teams will lose access once the site goes dark.
Yeah.
And the Washington Capitals will also gain all the lovely people who worked there.
Yeah. I get it's kind of like they're trying to have a competitive advantage, I guess you could say, almost like a psychological thing they want to do.
Yeah, they just made it harder. Like, it's not impossible for teams to do it, but they have to do it themselves now instead of having this resource.
I don't even know if they have to do it themselves, because there's a website that I've also seen. It's called Spot Rack.
Yeah.
And they kind of break down everything the same way that Capfriendly did.
Yeah.
I think Capfriendly was better.
Capfriendly was the best. Easily the best.
Yeah.
It was the most user-friendly and the most organized.
Yeah.
There's Spot Rack, like you're saying. There, Puckpedia is another one that people have used. So for fans, there will be resources still available.
Yes.
It was just Capfriendly was so nice and convenient.
Yeah. It's like all the iPhones were just bought away, and now you can't use iMessage anymore. You have to just use green text permanently.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like. Like, it works, but it's just like, ugh.
But the other thing to note is that now that people have realized that there's money in building a website like this, I'm sure other ones will come up.
Yeah, of course. Like, there's a demand for that, and the fact that it could also potentially lead to a professional sports franchise
buying
you out, like. Just from an entrepreneurial mindset, that's probably pretty good. That's probably pretty helpful to have.
And there have been other sites that predated Capfriendly that have gone dark for other reasons.
Yeah.
So, something will come along for the fans.
Yeah.
But for the Washington Capitals and the NHL, it's going to take a couple of seasons or two to adjust here.
So does this also mean that the website is still up, by the way? It is, as of right now, Sunday, June 16th.
It's up till July 5th.
Yeah. So you would think right before free agency, they would have wanted to close it, no?
That was apparently part of the agreement of buying it, that they wanted to stay open for fans through free agency this year.
Just for the fans, not for the GMs and stuff.
Yeah, so it's kind of a cool move on the Capitals' part to allow it.
Okay.
And, a few other hockey podcasts like Steve Dangle, Elliot Friedman have said that other GMs have chimed in on this anonymously.
Yeah.
And they have said, if it was me buying it, I would have shut it down that instant.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like, I feel like if you're trying to get your whatever competitive advantage, just do so immediately, right?
Yeah.
Also, something that I thought was interesting that the Capitals felt the need to buy it was they're about to head into a rebuild, are they not? Like, why I don't know. They're not like trying to cut corners here and there to build a perfect Stanley Cup roster or put someone on LTIR or whatever, right? So,
but I mean, it's a lot more than just cap, right? It's all roster management.
Yeah.
So even, managing your prospects, looking at how many contracts you have on the books, looking at players' ages and stats. I guess, Capfriendly had all of that.
Yeah, I guess if you're trying to sign someone and you want a market value, right? Like, it's almost like what Kelly Blue Book, is that what it's called?
Yeah, for cars.
For cars, like you're just trying to get a value to see what your car would be worth.
Like they had everything.
Yeah.
And it's that infrastructure that's more valuable than anything else than the data. The data will be made public somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
But all that coding and software infrastructure is what's the most valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. So I maybe this will work out for them long term.
That too. If you're planning to be competitive in 5 years from now, when you should make the investment now.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That is true. Yeah. I don't even know if they need necessarily to rebuild as much as they need to retool, I would say.
Yeah.
There's definitely like once Ovi's gone, like that's definitely a big part of your core gone. But like you can swap pieces in and out. I still feel like maybe this will pay off for them further down the line. But right now it just seems like almost a little bit of a nice little petty move just to throw a little salt into the wound, I guess. Yeah.
We'll see what comes up, but I feel a little sad. Capfriendly was one of my most used hockey websites. I've been using it for years.
You told me about it back in 2017. That's when I actually started caring about like these types of things. Before that, it was just like, whatever happens. But then you realize, oh wow, there's like a lot of useful information on this website.
Yeah. So. Well, congratulations to the team behind Capfriendly for getting hired by an NHL team.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
Huge. That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll be sad until some other site comes along.
Yeah, I mean, there's other sites, but they're the green text sites.
Yeah.
So
pour one out for Capfriendly.
Yeah.
All right, you got anything else for this episode?
No, that's it.
Hope you guys enjoyed some salary cap talk here on Glass Seats. If you like this episode, drop a like on it. Hit subscribe if you want more episodes, and if you want even more content, @Glass Seats Show is our Instagram handle, so you can follow us there. We'll see you next episode.
Bye.